and it's I'll post the link in the description of this video, and I'll post it during the podcast. So we're gonna just do a post game review with the OGs, and I'm gonna hop off and let them go and let them just give you all their rundown on the game. And this is our first post game show, so you guys earmark this one and get used to seeing us on post game. So y'all want to say what's up to the people, and y'all just go ahead and jump it off, and I'll fall off.
And do this. Just monitor Big Time Show channel and monitor the Cowboys post game. Just tell us what they're saying. But B Bird, appreciate you joining us on Sunday evening after the game. So we're gonna break it down. Again, this is Cowboy Joe. Always glad to do shows with B Bird. So yeah, so this was a game that I had kind of earmarked. It was gonna be a hard game when I first saw the schedule. Um, it was competitive the first quarter, going into the second quarter, but some of the things that we kind of have issues with B Bird just came back. And then what really put us back, B Bird, is so Javonte Williams was having a lot of success on the ground. I mean, he was getting a lot of yardage. And then Shady, he put CD in the backfield as a running back and pitched it to him. He ran wide, and the guy came up. It was almost a horse collar tackle, came down on his ankle. When you see the play, you're going to think he maybe broke his ankle.
Yeah, I saw it.
But we're going to have to wait and see, what the MRI shows. But I don't understand why you putting CD in the backfield like that.
Yeah, so I think I just saw him walking around. He didn't look like, anything was going to be a long term. I didn't see him not walking with a noticeable limp, unless somebody else seen something else. Mm-hmm. I didn't see that. So hopefully he does come back. We need him. It was just one of those games, man. I really want to almost encompass these three games all together and just see what we've done in these first three games. We played Philadelphia good, but I think that was more of I don't know what it was. It was kind of fake in a sense because Philadelphia does not want to throw the ball. And as you can see against the New York Giants, who I don't know the last time they scored 37 points and had that many big plays, I think that's more indicative of who we are as a team. Because just because Philadelphia chose not to pass on us and just run the ball and keep the game conservative, we thought, hey, our defense may be cooking with gas. But in the last two games, man, we've had quarterbacks that aren't Mahomes or aren't Allen, that's been ripping us apart. And these big plays have been something that, that's coming back to bite us. But I think really, I'll tell you this, man. When I told you before the show that my stuff is overarching. And so I looked at some things that's going on in the league, which I love Harbaugh as a coach because Harbaugh is just an old-fashioned football coach. I think it's a place in the league for an old-fashioned football coach. I think a guy he has the Chargers at 2-0, looking good. They were in the playoffs last year. When he had success at the 49ers. He had great success at Stanford and also at Michigan. But why is this guy never, whenever it's the Cowboys never look at a guy like this? And what I'm saying is this: he's an alpha, man, and he's going to run this football team like he's going to run this football team, and he's not going to let not necessarily the GM, but the owner or anybody up front influence what he's going to do. And so once you get all the BS out of there and you just football coach coaching football without the drama, without the Netflix, without all the other stuff, without the Michael Parsons fiasco, and now you just quiet everything around your organization. Now you can just focus on football. That's the opposite of Dallas, right? Dallas wants to magnify. They want to put a bullhorn to everything to try to, drum up interest, which, you have to be a certain kind of coach to allow that. Like, you can't be a coach that's very sought after to allow that. So I think what's happening with us, man, I was listening to Boston, and they talk about who can we trade for. We might be start thinking about who can we trade to get value, because teams may be looking at us saying y'all season is trash. Hey, let's get a couple of pieces off y'all team, because I also look at, Shanahan winning 2 games in a row without a starting quarterback. The Commanders winning with a backup quarterback. Philadelphia coming back. These are teams that are faced with adversity, and they've been winning the games, man. And so at the end of the year, after 17 games, these things are going to matter. That hey, we had a backup come in and win two games for us. That's going to matter. Um, the 49ers took over first place without their starting quarterback there. They just won again today. They're gutsy. They're scrappy. Those gutsy, scrappy teams, you can't have that because the person that cultivates the culture on those football games I just named, football teams I just named, are the coaches. The person that cultivates the culture in Dallas is the Joneses, man. And it's never going to be right until we get those guys to either hire a real coach or let him coach or let Shoddy coach. What it is, this team is disjointed. I think what ends up happening, man, I'm sorry for going on with this, but
No, you're good.
What ends up happening is we play teams with individual players. What I'm saying is this. We play team. People are cohesive as a team. They're a machine. They're a unit. Okay, yeah, my quarterback got hurt. We stick somebody else in there. Everybody else got to step up. We just got good players. We got good players in certain positions, and we say, man, we got this, and you got that. That guy made the Pro Bowl, but they don't play cohesively. Also, too, the mental fortitude of this team, to me, it's one of the lowest I've seen. Like, they don't really have that gut thing to where they go down. They had an, oh, boy, here we go again. Like, they have that all over them, man. And so when things start going bad, they go real bad. They don't have anyone that could turn it around. I often say that we have a lot of thermometers on our team, but we don't have any thermostats. We don't have anybody to set the tone, set the temperature of the room, but we got people that feel the temperature of the room. That's all they do is report the temperature of the room back. They don't set the tone. And so we don't have that. We don't have that in a coach. We don't have anybody. I saw after we went for it, we was at the 1 yard line. On third down, we threw it. On fourth down, we threw it. And then they coming out after the interception, Shotty's patting people on the butt. When have we had one of those get in your behind coaches, man? Like, nah, man, no, we're talking about on the sideline. We don't like those kind of coaches, man. And the Joneses, let's just be real. They don't like those kind of coaches. When have we had the fire and brimstone coach? We have not had a coach like that since Bill Parcells, man. So I'm sorry for going on that rant, but that's kind of what I got, man.
You're good, and that's a good place to start. And so, my best friend and I, we were at a lot of the Cowboy games in the 90s. We attended a lot of those games. So he and I have a long-running argument. It's kind of like a chicken or the egg theory. And so what I have said is that for the last 30 years, B-Bird, a broken clock is right twice a day, right?
Right.
So in the 30 years that we've had, you would have lucked up and hired a Jim Harbaugh. You would have lucked up and hired a Shanahan or a McVay. But Jerry has not done that because he just doesn't do a good job with hiring, number one. And number two, as you mentioned, he really doesn't want that guy.
No.
And so with this current coaching staff that we have now, I'm absolutely convinced that Shoddy hired the offensive coaches. And you can see it in the games, even though we lost today. You can see the offensive line. They're playing better. The plays are better, even though we had some problems today. But on the defensive side, B-Bird, Jerry and Steven, to your point, they went with Eberflus. They didn't try to go out and get somebody innovative on defense. They didn't try to go out and get a fire and brimstone. You mentioned the 49ers. They made Robert Saleh the highest paid coordinator in the NFL. So he's back with them. We should have hired Saleh and just made him the highest paid coach, defensive coach. You did it with Dan Quinn a few years back. You brought Robert Saleh in and you let the 49ers re-sign him. You could have beat him to the punch. So they got Saleh, we don't. So you're exactly right. This front office, man. So it looks like you and my best friend are right. They really don't. The coaches don't really want to come here and coach under Jerry and Steven. So
not established coaches, not coaches that have options. Mm-hmm. So when have we hired a coach that had options? I'm talking about when have we said, okay, man, this coach either going to go to New Orleans, Jacksonville, or Dallas. We got to make a pitch for him. That's the last time, man. And so if a coach we have not hired a desirable coach. And I want to say one thing about that offense and defense. Offense sells tickets and defense wins Super Bowls. And you've heard that before, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, what do they put more money into? What they put more assets into? What they put more coaching into? Offensive, defense.
His offense.
That tells you what they're interested in, selling tickets, man. And that's what they're interested in. Because those safeties should not be our safeties right now in this defense, man. They can't
I
cover.
was stunned. I know you didn't see this. Okay.
Yeah,
After watching the game last week, the issues we had at safety, today in the first half, they were playing single high safety with Donovan Wilson.
that's crazy.
How does that happen? How do you go into your coaching meetings all week? You're watching film, and you got Donovan Wilson playing free safety by himself. That's almost impossible that happened.
So if you let me tell you something, man. You can have the best F1 or NASCAR available, but if you let me drive it, man, we're not gonna win. So the driver is just important as the car. And so what I'm saying is, you actually, man, what great organizations do is say, man, I don't have a salary cap on coaches.
No.
I want the best. I won't change. It depends on what they're trying to do. I just don't know. I know for a fact that Jerry wants to win. But I know for a fact, but I'll go to the grave with this, that he wants to win his way. And he wants to be able to tell people, I did it my way. And that's why he doesn't want anyone that's going to come in and say, this is Jim Harbaugh's team. Jim Harbaugh has turned his. He don't want to hear that. That's the worst thing in his mind that he can hear. And so, it. We can talk schematics, we can talk all that, but it comes from up top down. Because what ends up happening is, you look at this defense, man. I looked at this team. I looked out there on the field. I said, this defense is just not good, man. I'm talking about personnel wise. It's just not good personnel wise. And so, who are difference makers on defense? I mean, we don't want to go back into this, but we traded him away.
Yeah,
and I think what was happening is Micah was covering up a lot of blemishes, man. One of the things too, we've always been, I think, is a front running defense. When our offense back in 2023 would get the lead, now we kind of can dictate to the other offense what we do. But when we get behind, man, and offense get to pick whatever they want to do, we don't know what to do with that, man. And it's just, I don't know, man. It's just, that was a bad loss today. But really, if you look at the season in total, it's kind of, if you go look at it, no, that's how it's going to be. We can't cover nobody, man.
Yeah, and so shout out to Cowboys champs and shout out to Ken Wright. Appreciate you guys joining. Make sure you like and subscribe to B Bird's channel and our channel. So B Bird, I watched film this week. Some other content creators posting videos. Sanborn, again, just like Donovan Wilson. There's no way in the world you start this game with Sanborn on the field, just instead of Leo Fowl. There's just no way you can do it. It's so, again, it goes back to this front office. You just have to say to yourself, what are they looking at? It's like, is anyone watching film? Is anybody doing like analysis? Is anybody looking at whatever you're supposed to look at? And to watch the way, so this is Eberflus. This is his the prodigal son. He returns home. You go play the team that fired you, and this is what you come up with. It's just impossible that you could just do that. And so you got to come in. He once again, he rushed forward, B Bird, pretty much the whole game. How is that possible? You saw when you played the Eagles, you put pressure on Jalen Hurts. You started blitzing from the corners, from the middle. Second game in a row, he really didn't dial up anything to put pressure on Caleb Williams. Just how does that happen?
Well, the thing about it is, I think what happened was, coming in, he figured, hey, I'm going to be able to get pressure with four because I got Michael Parsons, right? That was the whole thing. And so to his side, he didn't imagine what he's going to have right here, right?
Yeah,
and that's not
to be fair, yeah.
And so, but the thing about it is, you said Sanborn is playing, right?
He played the whole game.
I want to actually, I'm just going on the line. So Sanborn is playing. You don't think he should, correct?
Correct.
Okay. What about Hooker?
What I would say about Hooker, this is the problem and we're going to talk about this as the season moves on. The problem that I have with this scheme, B Bird, it really doesn't put an importance on quality safety play. The safeties, they're just literally like, you know how you and I back in the day, we would play football in the front yard and the
Yeah,
safety would be like down the street. You
yeah,
know, he ain't
yeah,
really, he just out there.
yeah.
That's what this defense does. Think about Marinelli's defense. During Marinelli's entire tenure, he never wanted a Pro Bowl safety. They had Jeff Heath. They had Barry Church, who was an undrafted free agent. So the position of safety in this scheme, which is the Marinelli Tampa 2 scheme, there's not an emphasis on safety play. So to answer your question, our safeties are doing what they're being asked to do. Just like today when they started the game, Donovan Wilson is 15, 20 yards downfield by himself. So what is the best thing Donovan Wilson does? He tackles in the box, right?
Tackles, yeah, yeah.
But you got him 25 yards downfield by himself. So I don't think this scheme really wants a quality safety, B-Bird.
So let me say this. This is what I was trying to get to, and I was trying to get there. Sanborn is a financial decision. They signed him as a free agent in the offseason.
Yep.
So you asked me who I think is picking the players. The Joneses are picking who plays every week. And I think Shotty done sold himself down the line, man. I think he got on board with it. He didn't.
You're right, because they paid Donovan Wilson, so they're just telling the coach he has to play.
Yeah, and so what about they paid Hooker too?
Yeah.
So that's what's happening, man. Shotty ain't calling nothing, man. He got his stuff. I think what coaches do when they come here with a good idea on how they're gonna win, man. And then they get here and in off season they kind of see some things, be like, whoa. Like I should be like, why you pronouncing who's starting in there? And then they keep on going. And you know what they end up doing? Just saying, hey man, look, I'm just gonna coach best I can, make this money, and see how this thing goes. I'm try to coach around these guys because that's just what it is. Some of these decisions are just money decisions, man. They're playing because they're getting paid. And let me say this: this is not exclusive to Dallas, but when it starts becoming egregious, then you got to say, okay, what are you putting? You're putting your ego over. Production? I mean, are we trying to win here? Or are we trying to do it your way so much? So I just think, man, I don't know what Jerry said after the game. I'm interested to see what he says. But I don't know, man. This whole thing, like, let me be honest with you. If we were who we thought we were, we should not be losing to the Chicago Bears. That's just what it is, right? We shouldn't be losing to them. That's what I'm saying. Like, and then when some people say, what trades would we make? Like, dude, we got to beat the Giants. We can't let the Giants score 37 and let the Bears score 31 on us and then talk about what we need to do. No, again, we need to start looking at giving us some assets to be totally honest with you for the teams that want to make a run. And we should be, we keep going like this. We should not be buyers at the trade deadline. We should be sellers. Getting people out.
And to your point, they made this trade, which was a foolish trade. What's going to end up happening is, and Green Bay lost today, but if you're not careful, your number one pick is going to be a really good pick. The Packers could be picking in the 20s. Yeah. So it was just, if you're gonna, like you said, they kind of pulled the rug out from Eberflus, but this is what our front office does. You bring this coach in, okay, you hire him, and to go back to where we started. So I had a disagreement with another content creator. This is when when the hiring situation was going on with Eberflus. Yeah. So when the Chicago Bears fired Eberflus, I told my son, that's going to be our next head coach. It's going to be Eberflus. But they went with Shotty, and then what they do, they did the next thing down and made him the defensive coordinator. So one of the content creators, a guy that you probably don't even know him, he was telling me that it was a lot of teams that wanted Eberflus. I was like, no, nobody wanted Eberflus. It's only one team that wanted Eberflus. It was Dallas. And as soon as he got fired, I'm talking about within a few days, B-Bird, he was the number one option and the only option for the new defensive coordinator. And my theory is the reason they did that is because, and they talked about it, I listened to Boss, their show during the game. The reason they hired Eberflus is because the Bears are paying part of his contract. That's why they hired him. So you get what you pay for.
Yeah. To back that up, if somebody say, well, does that, they wouldn't be that cheap. Well, they went to, when Mike McCarthy is last season, you never let a coach, you never have a lame duck coach on your team. Either you're going to sign him to an extension or you're going to let him go. The reason why you don't is because how can the players really listen to him when they know that this is his last year? They know that the team don't believe in him. Why? Because they have not invested in you. So, but what Jerry said was, his quote was, well, they said, well, Jerry, I thought, why you didn't get rid of McCarthy before the season? And he said something like this, I'm paraphrasing. He said, well, I'm not going to be paying a coach to be at home. So you mean to tell me you would just put up a season to say, well, now here's the deal. You would give away a season to save $4 million for the salary of the lowest paid, second lowest paid coach in the NFL, and you wouldn't say, hey, let me go look at Belichick. Let me go look at this guy. Let me go look at that guy. You wouldn't say that because of $4 million? What are we doing here? You have the most valuable sports franchise in the world, and we worried about $4 million, the cheapest head. For one thing, how is the most valuable franchise in the world? Well, how do they have the second out of 32 teams? They got the 31st paid head coach. Now here's the deal: we don't even know what shot he's making.
No,
but I bet you
that's why we don't know.
Yeah, that's why we don't know, because people brought that up. They're not putting that out there. We don't know what shot he's making. But I tell you what, I bet he's 27 on down.
Oh yeah.
So when you say that about Eberflus, and that was attracted to them, well, when they don't want to spend money on to let McCarthy go a year earlier, yes, I can believe that.
Yeah, and to your point, I'm gonna say this to piggyback on your point. Why would you just sacrifice a season? The other disturbing part of that equation, you haven't been to an NFC Championship game in 30 years, and you're like 85 years old. So you don't have, Father Time is undefeated. You're not gonna be here that much longer. So that being the case, why don't you have a sense of urgency? You just, man, these guys. And I was out there the other night. I went to a wedding last Sunday. Yeah. I drove by the facility to Star. Have you been to Dallas lately? Have you been out there?
I hadn't been. I went to the Star about four years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
So when you go out there now, and this is real old school. You remember we used to watch the Jetsons? You know how they were like the future.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
When you drive past the Star and that whole thing out there, B-Bird, it's like something like out of the next century. It's just state of the art. It's like 5-star restaurants, hotels. They have a hospital. The hospital I actually work for, by the way, they're in the parking lot. This big old huge medical facility. So question that we got to ask ourselves every year, B-Bird, is how do you have a $1 billion facility, but you approach your football team like it's, your local gas station. You just stopping by, just no name, whatever.
So winning the Super Bowl isn't okay. So let's take the psychology of this. Jerry's won Super Bowls before, but did he get fulfillment from winning those Super Bowls? No, because he wants to be the main center. He wanted to be the main center in the 90s, and after the 2 Jimmy won, he won the 1 in 95, and he thought that was going to be it. This is going to solidify me. And everybody said that's a team Jimmy built. Like that's just remnants of the team Jimmy built, and we never went back again. So it's not the fact, like you say, like he's 85. No, he don't want to be 85 years old and win because of a coach. He wants to win because of him. He wants to stand on there and say, hey, it was me. Give me all the glory. Give me all the honor. If I can't get that, I don't want to win no other way. And so he's put all his coins in a bucket for that. He's not putting it anywhere else. He don't care about it's just not fulfilling to him, man. It's just not. And so that's the issue we have. That's why, because, and you say urgency. Let me tell you, the urgency part of it is, if you're urgent, you don't trade Michael Parsons. That shows a lack of urgency. That's going backwards. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how we even get out of this, man, unless like my pastor is a big football fan, but he's not a Cowboy fan. He said, man, y'all won a good game last week. I know you was happy. I said, I was happy with the win. I said, but it is a little something in the loss. And he said, what you mean by that? I said, well, I say the more Jerry gets embarrassed, then maybe something will come saying, "Oh man, this is embarrassing. I got to do something different than this." Because until he's embarrassed and shamed, he ain't gonna do nothing else. And that might not even do it, man. But that's the hope I'm putting in there, right? I'm putting in there that some of this stuff just gets downright embarrassing, and then the questions from say 105.3 for the fan, or we get some outside media that come in and ask some pointed questions that put him on blast, and some of these talk shows talk about him or whatever. But until that, man, I just don't see a change in it because at the end of the day, man, we got to look at this team and say, do we have the personnel to win? Like, are we better than the Rams? Are we better than Green Bay personnel wise? Are we better than 49ers personnel wise? Are we better than Philadelphia and Washington personnel wise? And I say, I don't really think so. But then you say, are we better than culture wise? That's an absolutely no. No, we're not better than them culture wise. We are on the minus side of culture. And so I just don't see, I really don't see a lot out of this coming out of this team this year, man. And if you look at what Vegas had us winning, I think they had us winning 7.5 games. I think it was somewhere like that. And if you want to talk about unbiased, man, when you talk about money, Vegas is unbiased. They don't care about the Cowboys and hating the Cowboys and loving them. They just look at it and see what's there. So we kind of on pace for that 7-win or 7.5-win season right now.
So going back to the game, I think in the Philly game and in the New York game, our offense, they were able to, keep the pace. When we played the Giants scored, we answered. They scored, we answered again. Today, we had a couple of drives where we went 3 and out, and that's what you cannot do if you're Dallas. If you have this defense, Dak, you guys on the offensive side of the ball, they cannot have 3 and outs because that's just gonna hurt us. So, the first 2 games, they were able to keep up. Pickens overall had a good game. He had a big drop to turn into an interception. So, we got the players offensively that'll keep us in games, but what you cannot have is you cannot have the 3 and outs. Running game actually looked good. Dak, he looked good for the most part, but he didn't really get any help. And then when Dak is doing 3 and outs, defensively, you cannot give up points. You just can't.
Well, I think you're right, but what that does is when your defense is like that, it puts so much pressure on your offense to be perfect. So we could go back and look at Mahomes' career, where their defense carried him in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and he's like, man, he's Patrick Mahomes. He's the second coming, right behind Tom Brady as a GOAT. Yeah, but he needed his defense. When has Dak been allowed to have a decent game or a subpar game and still win because defense kept him in? I just don't remember that game. You know what I'm saying? I don't remember. Somebody might say Philadelphia, but Philadelphia does not threaten you in the passing game like that. And so I just don't remember a game where we have rolled the defense to a victory. I just don't remember it. And so it just, when you're under pressure to be perfect, it's just very hard to be, man. When you have no leeway, well, okay, yeah, we had 3 and out, but our defense is going to take care of this. Don't worry about it. We'll be right back out there again. Our defense saying, hey, man, don't worry about it. We got you. No, that ain't this defense.
The other thing that hurts the Cowboys, it goes back to what we were saying earlier. We've got problems paying the head coach, but you've had the same issue with the coordinators. So the Kansas City Chiefs, Steve Spagnuolo, he's been one of the top defensive coordinators in the last few years.
Yeah,
Jerry had a chance to hire him a couple of times, and he didn't. He went with Marinelli. So what we're talking about with the head coach, he hasn't done a good job of hiring the coordinators. Now, Dan Quinn was probably the best one that he hired.
Yeah.
And to Dan Quinn's credit, he was innovative. He really discovered Michael Parsons. Michael Parsons was drafted as a linebacker.
Yeah.
So Dan Quinn really discovered that he could rush the passer. So Dan Quinn had some innovation over the years. But what Jerry did with this defensive coaching hire with Eberflus, he has no innovation. If Michael Parsons was a rookie right now, B-Bird, Eberflus will be playing him at linebacker. because he doesn't have the innovation. He's not that kind of coach. You just brought in basically a Fred Flintstone coordinator. That's what you're paying him. That's what you're getting. That's what you're going to get.
And you're getting what you pay for, right? Like those coaches that you named, they come with a price tag. And somebody said this, and I want to paraphrase this too. They said, really, you take the star off the Cowboys, you see how they run their front office run things, you see how they do the coaching staff. Say, really, if you take everything away, you think they're the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Or the Chargers.
Yeah. What I'm saying is this. They run this thing like a second-rate NFL team. Like, hey man, we don't make that much money. Hey, we got to get this coach. Hey man, we got to pay this. We can't get that good head coach. We got to get the mediocre one. We can't get that good defense coordinator. We got to get this one here. Oh man, we can't afford to pay Michael Parsons. Ooh, that's too much. Man, we just Jacksonville. No, you're the Dallas Cowboys, but you running it like Jacksonville. Yeah. But I was telling my wife on the way home from church, man. Me and her was talking, and she said, "Babe, what's going on with him?" And I said, "Baby," I said, when you have somebody like you have an owner. Say you had an owner. Say okay, let's go here. Let's just say I own Walmart, right? I was a Walton. Well, Walmart is I don't know how many billion-dollar industry. I would buy the Cowboys, and I would say I'm going to find me a president, and I'm going to find me a general manager. I'm going to find me and they'll find a head coach. I'm going to let them run stuff. They got to run stuff through me, but that's what I'm going to do. Okay, why can't I run it? Because I got Walmart to run. I ain't got this. This is kind of my hobby. So I'm going to get this hobby to people that know what they're doing. I'm going to come in and go to my luxury street and have people come out, and I'm going to do all that. But man, I might come in at the start of training camp with the first thing, but I'm out. Call me when y'all need me. Well, you know how Jerry Jones makes his billions? Through the Dallas Cowboys. And that's why he's so hands-on. The issue is if he had another business that superseded the value of the Cowboys, that brought in more income than the Cowboys, then he'd be on that and let other people run it that was football people. He'd hire the best people. But since he don't, he got a lot of time. But somebody told me this before. They said, let me tell you something. He said, rich people buy sports franchises to become famous. And that blew me away, but I started thinking about it. It's a lot of people that make billions of dollars that I don't know. I wouldn't know their face at all. But sports owners, I do know their faces. And so what it is when a guy gets really rich and he can go to Walmart and nobody knows who he is, but he's worth, $30 billion or something like that. Now he craves to be known for making $30 billion. Well, what do? I want to buy a franchise. Why? Because now my name comes up a lot associated with this team, and it gives me a lot of more fanfare. Mind you, Jerry Jones is not only rich and owns the Cowboys, he's also famous. I went to a game a long time ago. They scrimmaged the Oilers. That's how long ago it was. And Jerry was on the field, and I think it was at Robinson Stadium. Jerry was on the field, man, and he went, and people was walking up to him with money so he could sign dollar bills and all that other kind of stuff. And I looked at that and I said, this guy is really famous, man. And I said, would I ever do that? I would never get, we don't really get autographs anyway, to be honest with you. But I would never go to an owner for an autograph. Why are you famous like that? Like, why would I need your name? Because you keep it in the media. And fame is addicting, man. It's addicting. And that's why the Joneses love their radio shows. They love Jerry does his post-game thing. It's addicting, man. Netflix, all these specials. It's addictive. Fame is addicting, man. You love, and people get addicted to fame, man. So I went on a little rant there, but that's just kind of what I think of the whole situation, man. It's just a bad thing, man. We don't run this franchise the way it should be run.
And then to your point, and I haven't watched the documentary yet. I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to watch it. But
I'm not watching it.
One of the things he talks about on the documentary is he really wanted to buy the San Diego Chargers. He was trying to buy them, and the deal fell through. But just think about this. You can look at it this way. So he's the owner of the Cowboys, but he was trying to buy the Chargers at first. So just think to yourself, what would the San Diego or LA Chargers look like if he had bought them? The answer is it would look like we look. For the last
Yeah,
30 years, the Los Angeles San Diego Chargers would have no NFC championship games.
that's right.
They would be doing all the kind of goofy stuff he's doing. If the Los Angeles Chargers had Michael Parsons and they traded him, you would say, well, it's the Chargers.
Yeah,
But that's what's happening here. The stuff that's happening here with this franchise is so goofy. It's so counterproductive. And I talk about this all the time on our show. The company that I work for FedEx for 33 years. The guy that owned FedEx, his name was Fred Smith. He was a Marine. Okay.
yeah,
The company was all about innovation. They was always updating. If you had to look at just millions of reports because they was always trying to figure out what the next move was. They saw this company over here doing this. They didn't say, well, this company is doing this and we're gonna do something different. They was like, no, we're doing this. Matter of fact, we're gonna do what they're doing. We're gonna make it better.
that's right.
Just think Chick-fil-A, just how they run their business, how efficient they are.
Yeah,
What's so perplexing to me with this man and the whole organization is just they don't do any forward thinking, forward planning. They don't do, the adjustments. And then when they do get ahead, B-Bird, they take a step backwards. So I'm going to take you back to 22, 21, whatever year it was. So Amari Cooper was your number one receiver. The year CD's rookie year. Okay.
yeah,
Instead of them saying, okay, we just drafted our future number one receiver, we got Amari Cooper, we just going to build on what we have and keep it moving. They trade Amari Cooper and sign Gallup, who's coming off knee surgery. So again, you took a step back when you didn't really need to, and they gave him away, by the way. So
absolutely.
this year, you hired a new defensive coordinator. You kind of have something kind of working for you. And what do? They trade Michael Parsons. So that's who they are.
Now, one thing about forward thinking is this. Okay, so I have a theory that you could be around something for as long as Jerry's been around, but if you come up the wrong way, right, then that knowledge isn't going to help you. Going through all this stuff is not going to help you. Let me give you an example. I always give this one. My sister is a surgical tech. She's been doing it for 30 years, right? So she's been in a lot of surgeries. But I'm not going to let my sister perform surgery on me because she's not qualified. Mm-hmm. She's been there doing it for 30 years. She's been doing it for 30 years, but she's not qualified to actually do surgery on me. Just because somebody's been around something for a long time does not mean that they're qualified to do it. And so when you say about innovations, if they don't have a basics of what they're doing, because they don't have a structure, they don't have a plan on how to implement a team, and they're trying to do it, right? They're not letting Shotty do this. They're doing it themselves, and they're telling Shotty, like, hey, Shotty, hey, we want to see such and such. It'd be nice to see this guy. You're going to do what your boss says do, right? Because you got this contract, you're trying to make this money. So what they end up doing is just submitting to the Joneses, man. After a while, they just say, hey, if I fight against this, they're going to run me out of here and I ain't going to have no paycheck. So how about I just go for it, just get the paycheck. I was an advocate of Deion Sanders. And I'm going to tell you something about that. I'm not really a big Deion Sanders fan as a coach. But I wanted him for this particular team. Why? Because I needed somebody with an ego big enough to say, hey, man, look, you ain't going to have me out there looking bad, Jerry, Steven. Now, I got to go back to talk to some of these football dudes, and they're going to be like, oh, man, you let them boys run you. And he ain't going to do that. So what's going to end up happening? And then also, too, when Jerry tried to use the media, guess who else got a bullhorn in the media? Deion does. That's kind of why I wanted that to happen, just to come in and say, oh, I got somebody on this side that's trying to rebuild his culture. And now, Jerry, we're going to fight on this one. You know what I'm saying? If them boys if Sanborn ain't playing good, nah, man, we paid him. Jerry, like, hey, we paid that guy big money. We don't want to see him on the bench. Well, Jerry, when he start playing better, he won't be on the bench. But until then, we're going to put him on the bench. Well, I just think that, I'm sorry, Jerry, I'm the head coach here. Now, you going to let me go? Or how are we going to do this? Like, if you're going to fire me, go on fire me. But I will go on a doggone media circuit talking about everything that's going on here. Why? Because you ain't gonna have me out here looking bad in the streets. But what we keep getting these subservient coaches, man, that give no pushback, and all they want to do is like, hey man, I'm just here to get a check. You know what I'm saying? That's what Shotty gonna be after a while, man.
So I didn't notice it during the game. So apparently some of the defensive players were wearing arm wrists, so they can look at the play. So again,
Yeah, I heard that.
it's like, man, what's going on? And
Yeah.
Brian Broaddus, he talked about them playing a Monty Kiffin defense. Man, Monty Kiffin, you talking about Monty Kiffin, you going like Fred Flintstone. So this is, you had an entire offseason to plan for this, and you pulled the rug out from under the coaches' legs when you did the trade. And in fairness to Eberflus, I think, last year we saw Zim. It took Zim a few weeks to kind of, get his bearings. One of the first things that Zim did was he stopped playing Donovan Wilson as safety. But the franchise that saw Zim make that adjustment, you actually have somebody rolling out of defense with Donovan Wilson playing free safety. And Diggs, and I can't remember if I talked to you about this. So I had the same knee surgeries that Diggs had. I had he had the microfracture surgery, which is, I had the old school version where they actually drill holes in your kneecap. And it took me, I'm gonna say 2 years. So I think I told my son, when we played the Giants last year, the first game of the season, that was Diggs' best game. He was coming off the injury. But after that first game, B-Bird, he started having soreness and knee problems. So kind of what we're seeing with Diggs, he played good against Philly, the snaps that he played. But I think what we're kind of seeing now is the after effects. That's the surgeries that he had. It ain't nothing to play with. It takes you a while. So I think we kind of saw that today. You probably were in church. He was in one-on-one. He kind of slipped, kind of tripped up a little bit. But I think what we're seeing now is when you come back off that injury, what Steven and Jerry do too, B-Bird, when they're paying you, they want you on the field no matter what.
They put pressure on you to come back on the field, man. They do.
That's not good.
And they come back early. And so one of the things, I was rooting for Diggs. He's one of my favorite players on the team, probably my favorite player on the team. But I said, man, I just don't hope. I hope that he's right to whereas he can come back and perform, the way that he should, that we've seen him do before. And just over the first 3 games, I don't think he's there, to be honest with you. And I think what's happening is it's one of those things to where sometimes players regret going out there playing not 100%. They're like, well, I'm getting blamed for it anyway. Yeah, you are. And so you need to get especially in Dallas with this microscope on you, man. Look, you better come back. If you ain't ready, just go on IR for 4 weeks and continue to rehab until you are ready. But don't come back here because they ain't gonna. Hey, look, when Jones already then threw you under the bus, it's amazing to me that fans turned on Micah so fast after Jones did his media circuit. They turned on Micah, right? And so, but that tells me that sometimes it's not about football, man. It's about something else. Because there's no way that y'all should have turned on Micah for wanting his agent to communicate with Jerry, and Jerry refusing to do that. And the thing about it too, man, is that here. Let's talk about that situation a little bit more. Let's just take Carolina, right? Let's just take Carolina. If Carolina had Micah Parsons, and the GM went on a deal saying the GM at Carolina says that he's not going to talk to Micah's agent. They've already worked out something. He's not going to talk to him, this, that, and other. And then end up trading Micah Parsons, right? Do you think he gets pushed back on that or even get fired?
The GM?
The GM of Carolina Panthers.
He's definitely putting himself in a position to get fired, especially if he doesn't get the return on the trade. He just gets fleeced on the trade. And
so what that tells you is that when you're operating without your job being in jeopardy, you take some liberties. Jerry has taken liberties on a lot of things, and it kills us. He doesn't know it because his ego. Let me be honest with you. When Tom Brady gets on the sideline and he's cussing and all that kind of stuff, it's boy, look at it. He fights it. He's look at it. He's a commander. He's just that and other. But when Dez does it on the sideline, it's a whole different deal. Same thing, a whole different deal. What they like to call our play, or they call players emotional. Oh, he can control his emotion. And sometimes it's true. Jerry is very emotional, man. That dude is so emotional. That's why he should not ever be in a negotiating room. That's why a GM that does not have an emotional connection to the money negotiates deal, because what he's going to negotiate is the deal for what the deal is a deal. I'm not going to take personal stuff in and go and talk to the player about how his personal feelings is. Nobody cares about that, man. The agent is going to go and talk about dollars and cents. So you got two people are just talking finance, going back and forth instead of the emotions in it. Jerry's emotional, man. That's just what it is. And that's what came into play with Micah. Because theoretically, if he can get fired, he never makes that decision.
Yeah.
That's our issue. We got a GM that cannot lose his job. All he does is keep trying. And then he'll say something like, I'll take accountability. Let me tell you, thank you, God, for stopping me from cussing. Let me tell y'all something right now. And I'm going to look dead in the camera on this. Accountability is not taking public or talk show radio questions. Accountability is losing your damn job and having to go and find another job and have to figure out how I'm going to pay this mortgage, how I'm going to pay for my kids' college, how I'm going to pay for this house I got in gated community, how I'm going to pay for these cars. That's pressure. Accountability is nothing. What have you ever been accountable for? Yeah, well, I made a mistake. What's the consequences to your mistake? There's no consequences to you making a mistake. There's no consequences to you trading Parsons. There are no consequences for you franchising tag Dak Prescott and all the other people you use the franchise tag on that cut the salary cap down. There's no consequence for you or Steven. Y'all just playing with y'all toy. Y'all just playing with a toy with no consequences. And it's a shame, man, that this team has to be like this. Because I don't know, man. It's just a shame that they're like this, man. And they're not gonna. And people say, well, Steven, can I tell you what Steven Jones as a GM is old too. So when Jerry leaves, Steven gonna take it. He's gonna be 70 damn near. He's old. We have no innovators in there because all they want to do, all Steven is trying to do is make the most. Hey, I want this stadium full, and I want to pay every player $40,000 a game. That's what I want to do. If I can just find a way to pay every player $40,000 a game and sell all this hawk all this cardboard, the tour of the star, the tour of the stadium, get some WWE, some motocross, and just hawk. I want to hawk everything. I want to get it out there, and I don't want to pay nobody nothing. I just want to get all the money back. That's why they don't sign. Okay, why have they not signed a premium free agent since 2012, Brandon Carr? Because they're not getting into a bidding contest because they don't want to pay their money. They're not trying to win like that. They want to get all drafted players so they can say we did it our way. That's why they don't sign free agents. Why not? It's ridiculous that we've been 13 years without signing a free agent. And anybody that says that you build your team through, you can't build your team through free agency. But what you do is your misses, you make them up in free agency. But they won't do it. And anybody out there cannot explain to me, and you lie and say you can, that 2012, a high value, a top 20 free agent, Brandon Carr, you can't tell me that's sufficient. That is not sufficient. You're not trying to win. And guess what? That's why we got 30 years of the same thing that we've been having. And we've been loyal fans. People call Cowboy fans fly weather. Who fair weather after 30 years?
Yeah.
Who's fair weather after 30 years? We are the hardest fans. We ain't had nobody there in 30 years. What are we talking about? We call 49ers fans that, or Eagles fans that. They more fair weather than we are. We stuck through this stuff. We look at our ownership and we see, you know what people look at us for? And I'm going on a rant, I'm sorry.
No, you good.
But when Washington had Dan Snyder, this is how much I think about culture. When Washington had Dan Snyder, I never worried about them winning anything. Why? Because the toxicity at the top goes all the way through the organization. I don't care what coach they get. I don't care what players they get. The toxicity starts at the top, going to end at the bottom. They will not win with that kind of toxic ownership, that kind of toxic GM. It infiltrates the organization. But guess what? Philadelphia and Giants and Washington fans look at us and be like, long as y'all keep Jerry, buddy, we good. Y'all gonna keep Jerry? Yeah, we good. We not worried about y'all. Yeah, y'all win. Y'all might go to the playoffs and win a division, but 2 weeks later, we ain't gotta worry about y'all no more. And they've been right for 30 years. So that's my rant, bro. I'm sorry about that.
No. You're on point. And to your point, it was 3 franchises that hadn't been to the NFC Championship game. At that point, it was 28, 29 years. It was Dallas, Detroit, and Washington. What they had in common, you talked about Washington. They brought in Magic Johnson and a new owner there. They got rid of the toxicity.
Yep.
The Lions did the same thing. They have a young general manager.
Yep.
They went, they changed the cards in the deck completely. But this franchise right here, we're the last team with no NFC Championship game in 30 years. And we're looking at 31 because this guy, what they put together this offseason, the way it was handled, and Jerry's out there on the media circuit with this contract situation, I didn't really think they could screw this up. I just think that there is no way you can screw up this contract with this player. But what it came down to, it was money. He really didn't want to pay him. He really didn't want to pay Dak.
No, they didn't. No, they don't believe in that.
They don't believe in that. But if anybody could screw up this deal and screw up this team, the guy that you saw out there on all these talk shows, I was just like, man, this thing right here, you cannot mess this up. But they will. And by the way, these draft picks that they got in the deal, they absolutely would screw it up.
They will.
That's what they do.
They will. They'll screw it up. Absolutely. But then here's the deal. If they hit on the draft pick in 4 years, they're gonna do the same thing to him they did to Michael.
Well, in 4 years, Dak is not on your team. You don't have your quarterback, and you just started the cycle all over, and it's just getting us back to it's just bizarre, and you just watch it in real time, and you just say to yourself, like, what in the world are they doing? They're not doing no kind of adjustments, no kind of course corrections. And then Steven, this thing that about the Michael contract, B-Bird, they basically went 0 for 5. What I mean by that is Steven, the kids, the grandkids, somebody didn't stop him and just say, hold up, wait a minute. You shouldn't even be talking to this player in the first place. The player is talking to you. So we're going to just restart the whole thing, get everybody on track. And then what's really disappointing is Mike and his team went back to them to try to make amends. And they told them,
absolutely,
we're not doing nothing with you now. It's like, again, nobody does that but them.
But let me tell you this too. So I'm going to get on this too. So out of the whole Michael situation, you know who I'm most disappointed in?
Who?
Our fans.
Oh, yeah.
Because what they do is they side with Jerry. I mean, you don't know how many during that time when Michael got traded or right before he got traded or during the game. You don't know how many times I saw in a Twitter post people anti-Micah. So guess what we're doing? We're supporting this incompetence. We are support. Let me tell you something. If this was Jerry in Philadelphia, they'd have been ran him out of there, or at least ran him out the GM position. Because the Philadelphia fans don't care; they ain't gonna show up. And even when they show up, they're gonna have all kinds of signs and everything else. And so you go to some other fan bases, it's the same thing. They care. Our fan bases don't like our players. And it was something I told you maybe before, but Boss said something that was so interesting to me, and I think it's true. Jerry brags about the publicity that the Cowboys give, the notoriety the Cowboys give players, and he's right about that, right? Like Micah isn't Micah if he's at Carolina. He's a good player, but he doesn't have the spotlight. Mm-hmm. But once Jerry goes at the player and it's a contentious contract negotiation, now what ends up happening is the fan base is split. And as an advertiser, you don't want to have somebody selling chunky soup when the fan base is split on you. You don't want to have anybody at Nike so you remember this. Think about this. Dak's first 3 years, he's had way more commercials than he has now.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because after Jerry throws you under the bus in the media and everything else, call you greedy and all that, because people already think athletes make too much anyway, right? Some people do. I don't. And so I always think that you'll work with somebody who's going to pay you. But after they give them a little bit of something to bite on, he's greedy. Now you're not even your Q rating goes down. You know what I'm saying? You can't even go out and so when they say, well, you playing for the Cowboys, that's true, Jerry. You're right about that. But damn, you think about if Michael was still on this team right now. Do you think he'll be getting any kind of endorsements or the opportunities that he get now after the fan base is split? No.
Yeah. So next week, the circus comes to town. It's gonna be, every day just the circus, the whole nine. And now, like I said, we gotta wait and get the test on CD, but it didn't look good. Probably a high ankle sprain. That's gonna be some time. We'll see. You never know with the MRI, but we're gonna have to go out next week. Man, I don't know how you pull this team together and try to get a win, because here's your problem, B-Bird. Okay. So their coach, LaFleur, he's highly skilled,
yes.
He's innovative. They're gonna be prepared. They know what they plan. He's very familiar with Eberflus. They were in the same division. You looking at, if you don't do something, and I don't know what that thing is, you could get blown out of the gym.
Yeah.
On Sunday night in your own stadium. And here's the other thing: you've been to Cowboy games. I have been. Shout out to Delvin Alberti and Lou's Take. So Delvin and I went to a lot of games back in the 90s. You know what's gonna happen Sunday night? About 30-40% of the fans in the stadium are gonna be Packer fans.
Yep.
So you looking at Packer fans being there. They're gonna have a friendly crowd. If you're not careful, B-Bird, you could get run out of the gym Sunday night. And I'm serious.
So when I was talking about players being thermometers and not thermostats, our fans are the same way. Now, our fans are allowed to be that way because it's been 30 years for us. So we kind of look out for, oh, here we go again. You can get that sometimes when the Cowboys aren't doing well early on. You can feel that if you're in the stadium, you can feel that nervous energy. The players feel that too, right? And so that's almost like when you give a speech and you're supposed to say something, it's supposed to be a funny part that you say and nobody laughs. Yeah. And you're like, oh, this ain't going good. Why? Because I'm not getting the feedback that I'm supposed to be getting from the crowd. So I definitely think that it could be an issue. Now, one thing I just thought about too that may be good that comes out of this offensively is that I think Dak gets too CD centric, right? And I've always wanted Pickens to come into play. Now, I don't know. I know after Pickens had the interception, Dak didn't go back to him. Right?
Today?
Yeah, he didn't go back to him at all. Now, the next pass, the backup came in, and he threw him a pass, Pickens a pass. Yeah. But and that's one thing I don't know about Dak. Last time the first game when Pickens didn't get that many receptions or targets, Big Time said that's because they were slanting their defense towards him. And I definitely have to, because I just got the All-22 last week, so I hadn't had a chance to really delve into it. So I'm going to take his word for it. But Dak with Cooks, Dak didn't really establish Cook as a threat that the defense has to worry about when he was here. He kind of gave some cookies and crumbles here and there, but he never really said, "No, if you over there on CD, I'm going to Cooks." He never did that. He just kind of forced it to CD. But CD's not there now, right? So what may happen is that he has to start trusting Pickens, and then when CD comes back, now you really got a two-headed monster, because right now you're a right-handed puncher, and that's how people worry about is your right hand. And so sometimes you got to take that thing away and then allow for the other hand to come into play. So I think this might be a blessing in disguise offensively, but defensively, if we're letting mundane teams like the Giants score 37 and Chicago score 31, I mean, these probably going to be season highs for both those teams. Then that I don't know what to say about the rest of the season with that.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and close on that. We've been on an hour and we want to watch some of this Kansas City, New York game. So this is we kind of know what's happening now, what we're looking at, and so we'll just see how this week pans out. We got Micah and the Packers coming in, and you're gonna have to buckle up your chin straps real tight for this one. I think it's gonna be a physical game. Again, defensively is my main concern. I think offensively, we're gonna be okay, and we'll just kind of see what happens there. Of course, they're gonna probably have three guys on Micah all night, but the problem is these guys are not that smart. They'll single Michael up all night. It wouldn't surprise me. That's
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's the, that's the kind of thing they do.
And let them have a field day, right?
Yeah, they'll just single him, and I wouldn't put it past them. So man, we're gonna go ahead and wrap. Appreciate you
Yeah.
joining.
One thing before
And,
we leave, so hopefully Friday that we can get together and do a show with Big Time. So that's how
Yeah.
man, and we'll see where we go from there. I'm available this Friday.
So Friday's a really good night for us. So we'll concentrate on that, and I'll chat with you during the week, and we'll try to get it going. He's on his show now, so I'll reach out to him, and then we'll try to get that squared away. But Friday is a really good night for us.
Yeah, we do it again, man.
I just wanted to say I enjoyed y'all's show. I listened to the whole thing. But yeah, I agree with everything that everybody was saying, and especially B Bird, what you were saying about how the organization is ran and how their jobs is not in jeopardy. I mean, and how this is basically just their little toy. This is just their little toy that they play with.
Yeah.
This is just their little, because like I said, this season, you kind of in the type of territory. Well, like my dad said, they always go backwards. They do things to go backwards. The Amari Cooper thing, they went backwards. They what they did by trading Micah. But what you're looking at with this is they might have punted the season a second year in a row. Because last year, the year before last, they went backwards again. They lost to Green Bay. Now we didn't need to do anything because we had a wonderful team. I mean, we had a great team, but that first year, I mean that first round playoff game, it got us. But we had a good team. Okay. Now all you have to do is come back next year and you have to improve your defense. But what did they do? What did they do? They said, okay, we're not gonna bring back Tony Pollard. We're not going to do anything whatsoever in free agency. Gilmore. We're not gonna do any of that. We're not gonna do none of that. As a matter of fact, we're gonna have a lame duck year for Mike McCarthy. Yeah. We're gonna bring back Zeke. We're not gonna get a running back to help Dak, even though they're the cheapest they've ever been in the history of the NFL. They went backwards. They double, triple, quadruple down and went backwards. And then following the next year, which is this year, they hire Shoddy. They hired Eberflus. They did everything that they were okay. Like when it comes to hiring, we was okay with Shoddy being hired, but the Eberflus hire was terrible from the beginning. We said that, and then they traded Micah, and you traded Micah in the most inopportune time. You traded Micah. Do you think Eberflus would have took this job if he knew he wasn't going to have Micah? No. I seriously doubt it. So you trade Micah from Eberflus, knowing that this is the only thing that's going to make his scheme even be effective at all. Because right now, it's not effective at all. We probably have the worst defense in the league right now.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So, you might have just punted the season, and then you don't trade for George Pickens and then trade Micah. You don't do that. So, so what happened is just like you said, Jerry literally traded. We don't want to say what it is because this is a sports world and the environment that we in. We don't want it to be that, but it is that underlying. To me, it is that underlying thing that we don't want to say it is, because there's no reason in football sense for you not to want to talk to an agent. It just doesn't make any sense at all. Yeah. You mean to tell me that you don't want to talk to the agent of one of the best players on this franchise in the last 30, 40 in the league in the last 30, 40 years? You don't want to talk to his agent because of what? Why? What how does that make any sense? And then Steven come on and say, guys, we don't have to talk to the players. We don't have to talk to the players. I mean, like if every player said right now that they don't want to talk to the owners about their contract ever again in the NFL. Do we think that any of those owners will say, well, you're not playing for us because we can't talk to you? We have to talk to your agent. So you're not playing. We're gonna trade you because we don't want to talk to your agent.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense at all. So you're looking at what you're looking at right now is you might be looking at Jerry and Steven ruining the season for the second year in a row. That's just the bottom line. We can do X's and O's.
Jules, here's the deal. Everything you're saying is right, but we just got to have a concerted effort to call them out on it.
Yeah.
Our media isn't strong enough because 105.3, the fan cannot ask him pointed questions because they have the contract for the Dallas Cowboys, and he who has a contract for the Dallas Cowboys wins the rating awards. And if you say something slick to him, too slick, you won't be on the radio anymore. He'll get you off. And people say, well, why? He wouldn't do that. Yes, he would. Because guess what? If I'm Jerry Jones and I say, hey, man, I don't like what that dude said. I'm not doing any more interviews when he's going to, either he go or I go. That guy's going to go. That's all it is to it, man. And so I would call it, when you say we're not calling them out as far as fans aren't, or how does he get away with like the Micah thing, the Dak throwing under the bus? It's a normalization of toxicity. We've been so around Jerry and these antics so long, we've normalized some of this stuff, man. And this is not what happens with GMs of other organizations. And people say, yeah, but he's the owner. That's the issue.
Not even other organizations, other companies. No company would do these type of things. And then I was telling my dad earlier today, to me, it's starting to go back to these guys' characters. They're just not good people. They're not good humans.
They're not good people, man.
They're just not good people. You don't just look at millions of people who consider themselves fans of your team and lie to them. And you know you're lying to them. You just lie to them to be lying.
Well, let me tell you, no, because see, the thing about it is you got to know your base. And Jerry knows his base. He knows his season ticket base. And he knows which way they skew. So I can go and lie to them. They just want me to lie to them. I just got to feed them something that they can bite onto and go with. And I've said it before. I'm not going to say on the show again. There's some other stuff involved in that too, right?
It is.
And that's just a societal thing, man. And so we got to look at that and be like, hey, if he was going hard at Sean Lee like this, like he would at Micah, it would not be tolerated. That's one of our guys, man. Now you can't do our guy like that. Jerry wouldn't dare do a Sean Lee like that. He wouldn't dare do Tony Romo like that. He wouldn't dare do them. But he take liberties because he knows that most folks think they don't deserve the money anyway. I can go at them like I want to.
Dad Bryan better not do nothing like that. He can go at them like that. He can go at Michael like that. You know.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And so he can't go. That's why with the best tactic to take, to be honest with you, is what CD did last year. Just stay away. And we all play dominoes. You know, one of the favorite things in dominoes, all money ain't good money. Y'all heard that before. And so what they're saying is, yeah, you can get this money now because Michael went to camp talking about, man, he don't want to lose $50,000 a day. Dude, you're going to lose a lot more. And what I'm trying to say is stay away. That's that way you ain't got, nobody got to put a microphone in your face every day and ask you this and ask you that and this, that, and the other. No, just stay away from it. Let your agent handle it and go about it. You did the wrong thing, even showing up to camp. If you showed up to camp, you do better.
I'm going to let my dad close this out. And I'm going to say this before you close this out. I'm going to say this like here. Micah and his camp they thought, and this is why I'm going to have Micah back a little bit. They thought, just like we thought, that the Cowboys would not dare do something as stupid as trade him. That's what they thought. They was thinking in their head, I can go to camp. What's gonna happen? It's not like they gonna trade me. That ain't happening. They would never do nothing that stupid. And then what I asked my dad, I said, Daddy, what is the worst thing that they could do? What is the worst thing that they can do? Trade Micah? That's the worst thing that they can do is trade him. That's the worst thing that they can do.
So I'm gonna close it out. With this. So in 2016, a lot of people they say the 2014 was our best team. B Bird. Some people say
that's my opinion too. That's my opinion also.
So you like the 2014 team?
Yeah.
So some people say the 2017 that was the one that DeMarcus Ware was on. They were 13-3. So I'm gonna go with the 2016 team just for the sake of argument. So the week of the game, B Bird, Dez has talked about this. So Dez was trying to get everybody fired up. He wanted to raise the intensity level of practice. He didn't like the way the practice was going, so he was getting on the players, talking to the coaches. Jason Garrett pulled Dez Bryant to the side and told him, the rest of this week, I don't want you doing that. We doing something different. We're not going to be out here, doing
Rah
this.
rah, doing the rah
We're
rah
not doing
thing.
none of that. And
That's
so,
crazy.
when the game started, they got down 21-3. So Dez said when the game started, he knew what was going to happen because of what they did to him that week of practice, and they ended up coming back. But they don't like those kind of guys. They
They
don't
don't like
want.
those kind of guys.
They do
They
not want
absolutely
that.
don't.
They don't want it. And
And
so
then
Michael fits the bill. So
Des
yeah.
said that though. Des said that he didn't pull him to the side. He said he did that in front of everybody at the practice.
Well, yeah, he did. So,
That's
but
crazy.
again, the '90s Cowboys, B Bird, they had 10 players like Dez,
Yeah, absolutely.
He
and
said
that's
that they was in a,
and
he said that they was in the locker room, and he was just like everybody was in the locker room looking like doom and gloom. Everybody was in the locker room just looking like we not finna go out here and like we not finna have a playoff game.
And so we're gonna wait and see what happens. But what may have just happened with this trade, they may have just told their team what Jason Garrett did with Dez that week of that Green Bay game. So that's kind of what we're faced with.
Man, I tell you what, I'm gonna let you go after this, but boy, you hit on one right there, brother. Because when you're saying that you're gonna trade the best player, that has to have an effect on all the other players, right? And they know not just the player in itself, but what he brings to the field. And you're saying that we're gonna trade that didn't raise the intensity, raise the hopefulness of the locker room. It lowered it. So I don't know, man. It's
And then it's just like they talking about the whole time they were doing this thing with Micah. They was talking about his leadership and he's a leader. And 105.3 the fan they talking about. Well, he has to step up his leader. I'm trying to figure out in my head, what are they talking about? He is the leader of this team. He is
they
the
have none on defense
franchise
now.
face. He is the face of the franchise. He
Yeah.
is the defensive coordinator and the offensive coordinator on the other team talk about Micah. The defensive coordinator talk about Micah. The defensive coordinator says, I want y'all to play this position like this brother right here, number 11. That's how you should be rushing. The offensive coordinator say, this game and this game moves how 11 moves. If 11 moves to the right side, we are going to the left. Okay, that's how this goes. And so for them to come out and be like, "Oh, he's not a good leader," then I don't know what a good leader is. Then,
but here's the deal, too. I'm sorry, man, but every player don't have to be a leader, right?
Yeah, who cares, right?
You can be a great player, just be a great player. I mean, you don't have to be a leader. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to be a leader. You give me 15, 16 sacks a year. I can find leadership somewhere else.
He's a leader of men. They talk about Dak Prescott and his master's degree. He has a master's degree in leadership. Now is that going to get you past the Green Bay Packers in the first game of the playoffs, or what? I don't care about him having a leadership master's degree. That means nothing. So what? Did Roger Staubach have a leadership? Did Tom Brady have a master's in leadership?
No.
Did any quarterback that we know of that won a championship have a leadership masters? None of that even matters. No one even but this goes back into this thing that the Joneses, they have like a pool of things that they can pull to avoid just saying we're bad. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know what we're doing. We're bad. And they have a pool of things they can just pull at and say, this is,
Well, it works, right? They become masters at excuse making, to be totally honest with you.
Totally.
Yep.
Totally.
That's it. That's where we are. So we'll hook up with you. I'll reach out during the week, B Bird, and see how it's going, and then I'll reach back out to Big Time, and we can try to these shows, man. When you're doing stuff like this, it ain't no like it ain't easy work. You gotta be art. It's fun.
Anything can change it.
Yeah,
you can be doing the show. But yeah, y'all gotta do the OG. Y'all gotta do the OG show one day this week, because like I'm telling you, like even YouTube was asking me when is y'all gonna do that show again?
Because we're gonna try to do it Friday, this Friday. Hopefully it all lines up for everybody. So
like YouTube, the cachet, like all of the algorithm is like telling me like you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, and the videos it's talking about is consistently the ones with y'all three on it.
And then we'll do the post game too, B Bird, if that works. and
Yeah,
we'll just
definitely,
kind of see how
definitely.
it
Yeah.
goes. That should be
I, do, I,
Sunday
do- I can
night.
tell you this.
Yeah.
I can tell you this: that next Sunday will be the last time. I'll miss probably like I did this week
Okay.
on it, but I could definitely catch up and then do the post game with y'all.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
we got enough games to do, so we'd be good.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully it's after a W, man.
absolutely. So I'll touch bases with you during the week.
All right, man. It was great
Okay.
being on with you guys, man.
All right,
All
you
right.
too, man. Have a good one. Oh,
Okay, go on. I got a moment.
yeah.
Hey, so I just want to tell everybody, it's B-Bird Cowboys. If y'all want to
Yeah.
follow me, if y'all haven't followed me yet, please do. Father and son, I guess y'all already know that. Follow them. These are some of my good friends, man, on here in this Cowboy content creators. I always lean to them. I watched them beforehand, before I got the pleasure of being on with them, and I definitely like chatting it up with these guys. But also too on Twitter, B-Bird Cowboys. I haven't been too active. I've been really busy at my job and at my church. So, but hopefully I'll start being a little bit more consistent and dropping videos or whatever. But y'all keep a lookout for me. Subscribe to my channel. I'd appreciate it.
For sure.
Absolutely. Follow and subscribe to B-Bird Cowboy.
I'm gonna put the link in the description, and the link is on the screen right here. So just click on it from the screen, or you can click on it from the description.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
All right, brother.
Okay.
All right.
You too.